Okay, world, how you doing? This is to go along with that freezer video that I just posted the other day. This 3-fan evap made by Heatcraft. Hopefully you can see the model and serial number. ELC122BJ for model number. Serial number D00. That means it was made in D is ABCD, January, March, April of 2000. This evaporator was made. So that's what you can get from that. And the model number, I believe the 122 is the 122, maybe it's 12,000, I think it's 12,200 BTUs. I think that's how they do it. Anyhow, so this is a freezer evap, 3 fans, temperature control. Somebody mounted it on the front here. Put their sensor in the back here, just senses return air going into the evap. Wanted to show you some stuff here. This is a defrost termination switch right here. 3 wires. I'll go into another video on what each wire does and at what temperature range, but basically it pulls it out of defrost, and it also turns the fans on when the fans get to like 50 degrees. When it senses the coil temperature at 50 degrees, it closes and turns the fans back on. So anyways, and it also pulls the unit out of defrost with the time clock on the roof if you when the coil gets to a certain temperature. Anyways, defrost termination switch on this thing is definitely blown. This thing was still working, so it's amazing it was, but you can see that this thing is just toast. What happens is the moisture gets inside of these things, and this is, like I said, a 2000. So this is 2000, January 2014. So you got this thing was probably installed sometime in late 2000 or 2001. So you got like 13 years on this thing. So you need to check these things even though the fans and everything are running if you're ever in here, because you'll see lots of issues that are coming up, and you can see how I can just pull this top off of here, and that's not what you're supposed to be able to do. So the moisture gets inside of here and it freezes because freezing temperature in there. So the moisture freezes and the ice expands when the water freezes, so you get moisture in there and it just keeps growing and just blows it all to hell. So anyways, this is a new defrost termination switch. Hopefully you can see it, and you can see that everything is down and flush and inside there and all sealed and everything like that. So this is what they look like when they're new. Okay, so that's what they look like when they're new, and when they're messed up, you're going to see them all expanded like this. So you need to replace them, or I have seen people, and you can, if you don't have one, you can just tie the 2 fan wires together, and you don't really need them. Just you don't use the pull-off section, so pull it out of defrost early on a temperature. Anyhow, like I said, I'll do a video on that at a later date. Anyways, some other things I noticed. This red wire, for the sake of somebody putting a wire tie on here, this wire was getting burned. It was laying up against the element right here, and you can see it's black. So that would have shorted through and caused a problem, probably, messed up the element, maybe blown the element, so it could create all kinds of havoc, all for, putting a couple of wire ties. So you want to kind of keep wires up, away from the elements when you're doing these things. So a couple of wire ties. You also want to use only black wire ties. White wire ties are not UV rated. The heat will affect them, and the cold. White wire ties are not for cold and hot and everything like that, and outdoors and everything. White ones, get brittle. The black ones do not. So you want to use black UV rated wire ties. You know, like this might be one, but I buy them and they're specifically rated. You can buy them in Home Depot. They're black wire ties. Anyways, I only use black wire ties anyhow. So that's another thing. The other thing you want to look out for is corrosion. See this thing, stuff's getting corroded. These buses will get rusted and you won't get good connections. You get some weird ass problems going on. So just want to do a visual inspection on these things every so often, probably every few years, you know, or anytime you're in there, you know, make sure you have a look around and see for any future problems. So save some downtime and some headaches. And of course this was the side that was right beside the wall, so you had like a foot, maybe not even a foot between this and the wall, so it's kind of messed up, so you can't get your head in there. And anyways, so just thought I'd do a little video on that. This evap doesn't look, it's not in too bad a shape, but it hopefully, I think we're going to be replacing it because of this issue and the fan motor gone, and it's got some other issues down here. Let's see if I can push this out here. Oh, maybe I can get this thing out in the sun here. So what do we got here? We got expansion valve, and whoever did this job, you notice how expansion valve doesn't fit inside the unit anymore. So that's kind of a bummer. Whoever did that, not real cool, but you know, that's what you get sometimes. It depends when this thing failed. Maybe it failed in the middle of the night or something, and so who knows. But anyways, HFE SC1. Oh, it looked like a 1-ton valve. So it's a 1-ton valve, so that would make sense with my model number being 12,000 ELC 122, which would be 12,200 BTUs, which would be 12,000 BTUs is 1 ton. So that would make good sense, because your expansion valve is going to be good for it'll shut down about probably a 1/4 ton in each direction. So you can figure it's good for 3/4 to about a 3/4 ton to about a ton and a quarter. So that's right in there. You also, when you do this kind of stuff, you should spread these tubes apart so that they don't rub. You know, do that. And this is kind of Mickey Mouse, whoever did any of this stuff. So I didn't do any work on this thing, guys. This was my first time seeing this coil. So anyhow, oh, so that's it. Coil's not in that terrible bad a shape, but but I wouldn't recommend, you know, we're putting in a new cooler, so I wouldn't recommend putting in an old evap in a new cooler. I'm going to replace the suction line too, running from, I'll do another video from the suction line and the liquid line running from this unit to the roof. It's been there for I don't know how long, you know, but I'm going to probably, it's a short run, I'm going to do that, replace that suction line and liquid lines so that we don't have any future leaks and the insulation. So you got to also remember that when you're doing freezer, you got to put extra thick insulation on the suction line because of the low temperature. So anyhow, that's about it I see on this thing so far. And my guess is this fan, I did spin it. I don't have something to spin it with me handy, but it seemed to spin, so I'm guessing it may not even be a motor problem on this one. So all depends what a guy wants to do. I gotta get a price on a new one of these things. And just so you also know, you want to also look for the drain pan too. See if they get holes in them, like corroding out or whatever. This one's starting. So like I said, it's a good time to replace it, you know. So hopefully he does. It would be a smart move, that's for sure. Because you're just looking at service calls, you know, a lot cheaper to do it now than it is to do it later, because everything's all going to be out. But if you did want to put in this coil, you'd probably have another maybe 10 years. You could probably about get another 5 years out of it. Then you'd start probably getting leaks on your U-bends and maybe some problems here. Got rust on this one and chafing, so you never know, could start leaking in a year or two. So, or who knows, it might already have a leak, because I noticed the system was refrigerant was low when I got to it, so there might be some hidden problem already. So like I said, good idea to just replace it. It shouldn't be that expensive, you know. So anyways, that's about all how you can tell if this is a walk-in cooler or a walk-in freezer or a refrigerator, you know, evap, is freezer ones have heating elements, and these are your heating elements to defrost the coil right here. These black things right here. So anyways, these are your that's your heat for your defrost, and that's your connection, electrical connection board for everything for the fans and your heat and all that kind of good stuff. So anyways, all right, you guys, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, and have a good day, man. Take care.